Now, let the show begin. Hello, Multiverse Nerds. Welcome back to another episode of the Multi Nerd Podcast with your host, Terry from Nerd Council Interviews on TikTok, my co host, wonderful Multiverse Shaggy. And today we have a very, very special guest, the very first person I ever interviewed on TikTok Live, the one with multiple voices, multiple personalities stuck in his head that are still trying to escape to this day. The wonderful Popo Blanco from TikTok, Twitch, and
Hi.
YouTube. Welcome, Popo. Welcome, Shaggy. Welcome back to another episode. This is going to be a very interesting one. So, guys, let's start off with just giving ourselves a round of applause to make it into episode 3.
Woo!
Popo, welcome once again. So, Popo, bringing it back to square one, getting away from TikTok, getting into long form YouTube channel stuff here, just like you are with your Twitch streams and your YouTube postings. Loving the thumbnails, by the way, on your YouTube. Just wonderful playing with you, also playing multiplayer. What made you go into starting to do Twitch streams?
Well, see, I had wanted to do that for the longest time, but I didn't understand the softwares that were available to me to stream. So when I would try to stream, it was a dumpster fire. There was so much lag on my end because, let's face it, this laptop has no business running the games I'm trying to run on it. And the software I was using, I didn't optimize it right. I had to actually have a sit down with some friends that knew what they were doing and show me how to make it better. And it's still not great. I still need a better system, but it's better than it was. And, I've decided, I probably should have started a few months ago when I found myself unemployed, but, kind of a little bit of a depression after that. And when I finally snapped out of it, I'm like, why am I not streaming? Like, I just jump back into streaming, and coming right back into it, within a week I was, affiliate, and I've just been running with it since.
Yeah, and honestly, you've been really great with it. You're looking almost to being partner now. How does that feel?
Working on. Well, I mean, it was a shock because when I went to look at the qualifications for partner, there's like 6 boxes that needed to be checked off or something between affiliate and partner. The only box that wasn't checked was my average viewers. Literally the only thing that needs to be done. And I'm like, oh, well, I average, between 20 and 30. How many do I need? Oh, you need 75. Okay. We'll work on that then. Try to get more people.
Mr. Popo Blanco himself.
Yes,
we were talking about your Twitch stream earlier. You went from TikTok, where you have a massive following, and when you first got that massive following, we talked about this before. Does it still feel the same doing it on Twitch? Having that massive following in that chat?
It feels newer. It feels fresher because it's such a divide in form of content, because it's a lot more improv, first off, because as I stream, I'm either streaming in this voice, or, on Mondays I switch it up and I stream as Alucard. So a lot of what I'm doing is improving in the moment to what I'm reacting to as I'm playing, trying to make it seem like the character is in the game. Whereas, when I'm doing TikTok, it's a whole bunch of characters that live inside my head.
Yes. And
dealing with comments on TikTok, I don't have to reply to them. dealing with comments on Twitch, I have to reply to most of them, because if I don't reply to any of them, that's them losing engagement. People aren't interested because I'm not interacting.
Yeah. I believe Shaggy here has a question for you also.
So how does it, like, especially like going from TikTok and then having that, like you were talking about, like that fresh start, like it's new experience. How does it feel like actually like meeting the people that you that have like basically got filled up by your channel and by your videos on both platforms?
Oh man. I can tell you this much. I met people that knew me before I got to meet people that I knew, if that makes any sense. And
Yep.
the first half of that, meeting people who helped build my page that became part of my following, it is such a surreal experience, especially because I think the first couple of times it happened, I was at work, I was in my truck, and then all of a sudden you just feel eyes on you, and you're like, because you look down and there's someone looking at you going, just like awestruck. And I'm like, can I help you? Are you Popo? Yes.
And that's another question I had was like, actually, where did you get the idea? Where was that? Where did you get the idea, or what made you want to be Popo?
Okay, so when I first started TikTok, I went by the name Texas Grizzly 88 because I was born in 1988. I was not aware of the dog whistle of 88. So once I found out about that, I quickly changed my name. Unfortunately, Texas Grizzly was taken by then. So I switched it up and I went with Man Bear Grizz, which is, of course, a nod to South Park's Man Bear Pig. And then came a filter on TikTok. Which Dragon Ball Z character are you? And I was sitting there screwing with that filter for about an hour, and I realized, they got Supreme Kai in here 3 times, but there's no Vegeta. There's Vegito twice, but there's no Vegeta. There's 4 Gokus, but there's no Vegeta. I have an idea. Because I was always able to do voices, just that when I tried them before, they never really took off. But I'm like, the hell with it. My TikTok was all kinds of things. Starting, my first video was me talking about pecan pie, not pecan pie. That was the first video I made, and then it was just whatever popped into my head. And again, I tried singing, I tried voices, I skit comedy and stuff like that. Nothing ever really took off until that filter. When I started scrolling through it, and as I was going through it, my voice started changing more and more to become like Vegeta. So I started embodying Vegeta, and I needed to find myself in this filter. I needed that validation. But as every character that came up that I could do, I just did the voice. On that first episode, Popo popped up, and all I said was, "Hi." People latched on to that part of that video. They wanted more Popo. They wanted more and more and more Popo. They wanted me to do the pecking order. They wanted me to do all these squares make a circle. They wanted me to keep doing Popo lines until the time came that I'm like, I'll tell you what. Because they were asking me to do a song as Popo. You should do a song as Popo. And I said, I'll tell you what, this is what I'll do. You get me to 100,000 followers and get the pieces of the costume that I've put on my Amazon wish list. I will do a cover of It's About Damn Time by Lizzo as Popo in costume. Why did that take a week?
I'm also surprised it took a week.
100,000 followers came in 2 days. It took a week for everything to arrive.
Wow.
And by the time I was waiting on the last piece to show up, I was just like, all I was waiting on was the costume jewelry. And I'm like, I should probably start writing lyrics.
Now, we've seen the progression of the Popo cosplay over the year that you've had it.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the way to basically describe that progression?
Well, it started off, I was trying to find something that was as accurate to the clothing that Mr. Popo wore in the anime. You know, of course, to all the listeners out there, minus the body paint. You're not going to catch me tripping like that. And then from there, it almost became a matter of necessity because the white pants that I had ripped at one point, and I needed a replacement. Now, I was able to get a pair of white harem pants later, but I bought a pair of black pants because the white ones they didn't have. And I'm like, it's black pants work with the color scheming.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. So that's where I went. And then at the first Norse Forge gathering, it was just the Popo costume with a little bit of costume armor that I was able to get my hands on. And I had a really bad sunburn after that weekend. That almost made it onto some merch because I made it look like an axe with some AI filters. Because the way it's shaped, there was like a cross right here where you could see the square where my badge was, but then like everything else was like kind of axe shaped. It was really weird. And so I decided, okay, next Norse Forge gathering, I want to cover as much of my skin as possible so that doesn't happen again because it sucked. And to do that, I wanted to lean in one direction with it or another. Now, I adopted a kung fu style coat, monk's coat, leaning more towards the, Asian aesthetic of the anime.
Yeah.
But for other parts of the costume, I leaned more towards what a lot of people believe to be Mr. Popo's more like Hindu, Indonesian culture influences. And it's where, I got the curved sword that the razor smith made me.
Mhm.
I got, because it was a Norse Forge gathering, I got some Norse style armor pieces. I had as many Asian influenced accents on my person, as well as a few more Indonesian style clothing to match it, that all culminated in what became the Norse Forge Popo Blanco, which was me with the shoulder armor, the big old belt over the red sash, the sash going over one shoulder with the vest, and everything. There was actually supposed to be a necklace of Dragon Balls that Allie was supposed to make me, Norse's wife. She never got around to finishing it. But that was supposed to be part of the costume too.
Well, hopefully she'll have it this Norse Forge coming up.
But to answer though, what Popo's costume is now is it's a black, it's not a turban, it's a wrap. And it's not even a wrap, it's a wrap cap. It's just literally you just put it on your head with a red costume jewelry glued onto it. The same vest from the beginning. That's always been. It's the same vest. The sash is the same. The pants are red. They're the same color red as the vest, but on the left side of the leg, they've got streaks of black going through it, and almost a zebra patterning kind of a thing. More jagged, more chaotic, but that's the only thing that's really differed from it is the hat and the pants. But that is now the default Popo Blanco costume.
And honestly, I love the way the progression of like all your cosplays have been going. The Alucard costume is damn spot on. Like you look at it and you go, Alucard.
It's Alucard. And the funny thing is, I didn't have the wig at first. The costume came in one piece off Amazon. It was cheaply made. The hat looked like it came out of Dr. Seuss when I first got it. So a friend sent me, and I didn't have a wig. That was the first thing that showed up. Dude bought me a wig off Amazon and sent it to my house. And I'm like, well, I got that. I have everything else for it. I just don't have a hat. And then someone sent me a felt hat. It's actually sitting up there on my shelf. And it doesn't fit with the wig on, but as long as I sit it kind of towards the front, you can't tell that it's not fully on.
Never would have known. Never would have known that because it honestly looks like it sits. Because Alucard always had his hat tilted forward. It looks just perfect.
But then also, I don't wear the gloves either, just because I already have this.
Yeah, and loving that honestly. Shaggy, your question next.
So another question like I have is like, what is like that one line like from Dragon Ball or whatever your favorite anime is? What is that one line that's kind of played into your real life? Like that one line that's stuck with you.
Okay, so hear me out. Um, it is actually all these squares make a circle. Over the years, it has become my mantra for dealing with stress. It really has. Like when things just start getting piled up, if I've got, I'm surrounded on all four sides by assholes, all I can sit there and do is sit there. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. And when you're thinking about it as like, okay, yeah, the lookout is a bunch of square tiles, but the lookout was circular. Okay, that's a little weird. But no, when you translate it to the people are the squares, the circle is the planet.
I think that's how because when I made the so I'm tasked with making the thumbnails and I showed him that and he showed you
I
and
loved it.
when you were talking about all these squares make a circle and use that I was like I wonder if that's how Terry felt when I made that thumbnail because he said we were like gonna team up against you.
Well, see, that's the thing too, is that when I say all these squares make a circle, yeah, the Popo thing, they're like, people's like, what does that even mean? What does that mean? It's like the square tiles on a circular platform. That was always the joke. He was tripping. But it's like, if you want to look past it like that, all these squares make a circle.
Yep.
And you like, when you look at it, like I said, when you look at it like that, it's stuck with me for so long that it's going to follow me to my last days. And if I have any, and if I have the coherence to do so, it will be my last words.
Terry, you were gonna say something?
When he showed me the thumbnail for today's episode, I looked at it and went, I started laughing literally physically. Like I almost had to pull off the side of the road because I was driving home. I almost physically had to drive off the road to like collect myself because I was laughing so hard because it looked like you and it looked like Popo and Shaggy were about to tag team me.
But the way I'm angled on the picture I sent you, because I'm looking at it right now, the way I was angled on the picture, it's like I'm not even really there. I'm more like some malevolent force that's manifesting.
Also, when I was editing that, because like I have this thing that crops out the person, but it took out the prop you had. It literally just had the hilt. It had the hilt in your hand, and it had the hilt, but the top, the rest of the prop was gone.
I should have sent you the one I made.
Okay.
Which I'm not finding right now. I had taken that very same picture that I sent him. I ran it through Photo Room, and it cut out every part of it just fine. Just remove the background. I should have sent that instead.
Yeah, because I wanted permission from you from you to be able to use your photo because like I said I have to edit all this into a thumbnail and I do it off of my phone. So like I want to be able to have permission. Like so like here's the thing. So so I believe you have seen our videos. So you've seen my logo. I had that commission. So like anyone who uses mine, I actually can like sue or whatever. So like
the funny thing is, my logo on TikTok was actually the logo that follows all my socials now was actually fan made.
Oh.
And sent to me. Huh. So he goes by the name of Robert Gift. Dude's a legend.
I believe it's your turn to ask a question, Terry.
Yes. So let's get away from the Twitch, the TikToks, and let's get into.
Oh, can we?
The Popo himself. We saw the incline of and we all as a truck driver myself, and a truck driver. You're a truck driver. We all know the hatred for Swift now, don't we?
Oh yeah, no. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I never had any love for Swift. It's just that once I found out that the higher ups of the company actually watched my content, knew who I was, I felt in my best interest to not say anything.
Yeah. That like a lot of my videos, like GameStop doesn't mind that I did a couple videos when I'm by myself or like there's nobody inside the like my latest video that I did on TikTok with the lady sitting having tea with her, which for some odd reason gained a lot of traction here lately. Um Still don't know why. But my main company that I work for does not like me doing TikToks, especially if I'm in the uniform. So, like, if you ever see me holding my chest like this, that's me, like, literally holding their logo out so they can't say, hey.
Yeah.
So, with it coming into the whole situation of the Swift and seeing the mentality behind it, and we've seen you've gotten better. What made the in getting yourself back up in there and getting yourself motivated to go again after the whole Swift situation? What made you just say, screw it, I need to just focus on the happiness of my family and focus on the family, focus my happiness, focus on my happiness? What made you kind of start doing that again?
Well, after I fell off of Swift and you know, my content kind of took a more personal tone. It was less skit-based comedy and more personal life updates. My drive to take care of my family had never left.
Yeah.
It took center stage. Like, I was job hunting every day. I was constantly doing maybe 10, 15 applications a day. And I wasn't hearing anything back. But all the while, I have to take my son to his therapy, twice a week. I have to get him to school in the morning. I have to help my wife get our youngest ready to go to daycare every morning, feed the kids, bathe the kids, get the kids to bed. So in between all of that, it got worse. So much worse for me mentally because I wasn't even getting rejection. I was getting ignored. I wasn't being told that I didn't meet the qualifications. I just wasn't hearing anything back. And I try not to let it bother me, but this past Christmas was probably the most morose I have ever been internally. Again, not letting my kids see that, not letting my wife see that. She knows about it, but I wouldn't show it. And at the turn of the year, as everything started falling into place and we got a little sneak peek as to what the potentially next 4 years hold for us, something kind of sparked. It wasn't like I need to focus on my happiness again. It was people need me more than just my family. So many people had told me over the past couple years how I've helped them, how my comedy has been the welcome distraction that they need from the world. And that is what I was good at. That is what I needed to be in the moment. And after we lost TikTok for the day, that's when it happened, when I didn't have it. And I'm like, I need to bring myself back somehow. And I was thinking I need to start leaning more into YouTube. But then the next day, TikTok came back, and I'm like, I need to put myself aside for once. And I need to just get back into it. My first video after TikTok came back was me saying, oh, let's check the TikTok today. And then looking at the, it's not available. Oh, that's not going to work. Pow. And then it just comes back. It was literally my first video back on the platform. And it blew the fuck up. And I'm like, okay, so this is who I need to be. And incidentally, through pursuing that, I'm almost back to where I was before getting fired mentally. Like, I still drag from time to time, but I have to just keep pushing it to the side. And I'm like, there's no time for that. We have work to do.
Yeah.
Like, we have people that need us. But as time drags on, as slow as it might seem, I'm getting back to where I want to be. And I have
Okay.
hope. For the first time in months, I have hope.
And we have hope for you too, honestly, because with your recent update of the school district jobs and everything else, been praying for you to Odin and to every god that I can think of, that you find that school busting drive. Because honestly, and I will say this, you took my retirement job.
What?
That's my like retirement job. So whenever I retire from like my main job after working so many years until my daughter graduates high school, my retirement job was to be a school bus driver.
No. Well, honestly, I'm trying to get a job. I was either that or a job as a custodian.
I honestly just want to be that old school kind of bus driver that sits down, tells the kids to sit down and shut the fuck up.
Well, the thing is that if I land the bus driver job, I can't say much about my TikTok content. You know, I can always record a lot on the weekends and post it throughout the week. It's not a big deal. Same with custodian. But with the way that schedule is set up, I have to be there so early in the morning. My streaming schedule would have to change drastically.
And I think if you did actually get it, I'm as strong will as you are and as headstrong as you are, I honestly believe you could do it. Now, when we're talking like video games, here lately, you've been playing Phasmophobia. You've been playing Among Us. You've been and one of the games that you actually have in common with my fellow co-host here, you actually have in common Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
Shaggy has actually something interesting that may pique your interest when it comes to Skyrim. Shaggy, you want to show them?
So I don't know if you've heard of the company called Titan Books,
I
but
think so.
they ended up making an entire book set for Skyrim alone for
Oh,
the
dang.
history. And by the way, hold on, I'm going to show you this. This is the size comparison of this thing, and it's textured. So
Is that Alduin's Wall?
This is, yes.
Yeah.
And here's the side of it, and it's 3 books in total. It's magnetized.
Oh, dang.
And when you open it up, it shows Alduin. I believe it's Alduin. I can't remember which dragon this is, one of the legendary dragons, as you open it up.
Oh, that's cool.
And what the 3 books are, if I get one of them out, the 3 books are, the first chapter is the history. So it has every book that's in the game, by the way.
Oh,
And so every book that you can read in game, it has in here.
so which one has the lusty Argonian?
And they actually hold on, wait. Just because you mentioned that, I'm gonna look here. Hold on, let me find the lusty Argonian made.
While you look for that.
No, it's literally 106. On page 106.
Okay, so they do have every book. Good.
Yes, and when you open it up, it has the map of Skyrim.
So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never played Skyrim.
What?
Okay.
I never got in. I got into Dark Souls, but I never could get into Skyrim.
Oh wait, I never showed you this
guys.
today.
Oh yeah,
I have the collector's edition metal box with the artwork. Oh, what's that?
Tamriel.
Oh, you got the entire Tamriel one?
I got the cookbook.
He's got the cookbook.
Oh, they made a cookbook. I want to buy that.
I got the Fallout one too.
So you guys were talking cookbooks.
Yeah.
So I got actually two cookbooks that could beat both of yours.
Dang it.
Yeah,
Wait.
Or I think you actually have this one too, Popo.
Is it Snoop Dogg's? Yeah.
Made
don't
many
right
of
here.
recipes. I love this one though, honestly, because it's got every pizza that you can think of for like there's I believe
Trejo's Tacos.
oh have you ever as a truck driver have you ever been to one of his taco stops? Oh, I got his signature too on a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
I got the machete one.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is
There's the cursed one. The Necro Nom Nom Nomicon.
there
I've got
is
a Good Eats cookbook in a closet somewhere from the show.
there's 119 different styles of pizza in this one book.
Only 119.
Yeah.
I used to have a bottle. I used to have a bottle of their pizza seasoning.
Oh yeah. Back
Stuff's
from
good.
the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the wonderful thing about like our podcast because
You mentioned a signature on a Funko Pop. Keep talking. I'm gonna grab something.
oh yeah. For our podcast, the wonderful thing about between me and Shaggy is there is exactly a who is that?
The Canadian voice actor for Vegeta, who coined "It's over 9,000."
Oh shit. That's
Yeah.
cool. The really cool thing is that there's exactly a 20-year gap between me and Shaggy
Dang.
for our generation because I bring in the old school, he brings in the new school.
I'm probably sitting somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you kind of are. Because I know I'm like 5 years older. You're 30. You're about to be 35, right?
36.
36. Okay, so yeah, I got 4 years on you right now.
Yeah.
I'm about to be 21 in April, so
Yeah, he's still a baby.
Yeah.
But he's got a very mature soul. So when it comes to what enticed you guys to, and this question's for both of you, what was it that brought Skyrim to you? What enticed you to play Skyrim?
I have your answer. It's right here. Give me a second. Back when I was getting ready to go to college, my mother bought me a laptop to take with me, and she wanted to buy me a game. She bought me this. This is Oblivion.
Oh,
The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, the game before Skyrim. I never played a game like this before. And this was the complete edition. It had Oblivion, Knights of the Nine, and the Shivering Isles. Yep. He's got it too. And I've still got both discs. Still got both discs in it.
Oh, that fell out.
And
Okay.
I fell in love with it. I'd never really been into like RPG style games, but I fell in love with that. So when I heard Skyrim was coming out, and I'm like, you mean I get to breathe fire and fight dragons? Say less. And even to the point that this is the unrelenting force shout.
So when it comes to let's talk tattoos, because me and you have that in common. Shaggy has yet to get a tattoo. He's still waiting on his first one. I told him if and when we get to hang out, I'm gonna take
I like how Popo's like,
him to go get his
yes, and I'm
first
like,
one.
no. And I'm like,
you know what?
no.
We'll make this a 3-way event. All 3 of us will go get tattoos together.
Ew, it's that kind of stream.
My mom would not like that.
I'll tell you right now, my mom don't like mine either. It ain't her body.
It's like the Popo shows up to my house, just be like, "We're taking him, and we're."
Yes, no. My Southern Baptist family is over the fucking moon about this.
Yeah,
Like,
there
they're
was a
like,
couple of
what
my
is that?
tattoos.
What is that? What does that mean? What does that mean? The same thing it meant last Thanksgiving. Nothing.
But Terry, you asked me what mine was because you said it was a book-weight question for Skyrim, and
Yeah.
actually, when I was 11, my dad actually brought me to a really big YouTuber. I forgot what his name was. That he had a place out in Arlington, Texas, where he had his blacksmith shop, and he brought me out there, and we actually got to forge the different knives and stuff that they make there. And I actually I made I believe it was an 8-inch or a 9-inch blade. And I got to forge that myself with my father, and I just loved it. And then when I heard about, and then when I came across, and there was a guy there, and he was like, and he had his kid there, and and I believe the kid was, so I was 11, he was about 16, and he was playing Skyrim in the back. And that's how I fell in love with Skyrim, because I got the blacksmith actually in the game and got to see the different designs and the medieval lore, and I just loved it.
Oh yeah, it's funny. Funny that you mentioned that because my dad owned a machine shop, and one day you talking about you made an 8-9 inch blade. I remember one day this had some like copper tubing, like well, not tubing. It was more like thick wiring. And I remember I sit there, I twisted it, I was just fucking with it. And I like twisted it up, and I remember getting pliers and like pinching down one end and twisting it up real tight, and then looking at the excess and like hammering it out, flattening it out, sharpening it. I made a letter opener, whereas yours was a nice 8-9 inch. I like to refer to mine as it's a perfectly normal size, it's just cold in here blade.
It's just average.
Yeah.
It's average.
It's like,
average,
no, it's perfectly
It's
average. It's just cold in here. It's a little letter opener about that big.
It's perfectly hard as it is, okay?
I don't care what she said. It's not weird. All penises look like gross mushrooms.
Okay, you know how you want to talk letter openers, and we're going to talk a little bit of history here. You know how Birch Kreitzer has memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever get to meet Birch Kreitzer, I have something for him.
Oh.
And it actually does have its writing.
Oh, look at that.
It's actually forged in Germany. Oh no, this one was from Mexico, but it was this guy had the it was made in Mexico, but he literally etched so much stuff in there. But it was one of those things that he found. It was my grandfather who found it a long time ago.
My whooping stick.
I like how me and Popo are like both have that smile. We're just like,
No, it's got a on the handle.
Ooh.
Also, that's one thing, Popo, I've noticed. You have a mini Wukong stick, and you have a big one, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
But you have the small one as well.
And I want to do more with it. I just have to have like the inspiration to like where I'm going to drive the narrative of the video. But I have the whole thing where it's like, pull the stick out from like behind my shirt or something, then flick it off camera, and then come back with a full size staff. I like to make that little joke. But this one here is my current pride and joy.
A centaur.
Uh-huh. This was made for me at the last Norseforge gathering by the Razorsmith, which everyone kept calling Scuba Steve, which confused the shit out about me because I didn't know that was what everyone called him. It is solid aluminum.
I didn't know you could forge solid aluminum. I thought it was too brittle.
It's thick and it doesn't have an edge on it. But it is a full metal sword prop.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, they do actually use aluminum for like a lot of props and like stuff.
But it's like probably because I went to on the first day of the Norse Forge gathering, I had my staff. And by the end of the day, I had a staff and a sword. Then the next day I was Alucard. The day after that, I was Beetlejuice. When I came back as Popo on Sunday, I just had the sword.
So going through the Norse Forge, how does it feel going through there, seeing all these big time TikTok creators and them knowing who you are?
Okay, so I was introduced to quite a few of these people early on through the Roll for Cake D&D series.
Oh, with Tank
got streamed.
Tolman,
Yeah,
Autumn
Tank
Ivy.
Tolman, Autumn Ivy. I showed up in 2 episodes as a undead blue dragon named Derek. And the thing with this character was I didn't think undead dragons could talk. And the DM's like, don't worry about it. And it says here they got low intelligence. He goes, don't worry about it. And then he goes, what do you plan to do for combat? And I said, don't worry about it. I made it my mission to drive it as close to combat as I could just to make them squirm and try to wiggle a way out of it. There was never going to be any combat. They didn't even have to try. I wasn't even going to fight them. Like, I had this whole plan that if it came down to combat and there's nothing they could do to stop me, I was literally just going to stop, kind of look around, go, can I help you? Like, literally just have a mind wipe moment. Just
Hey, Popo, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that one dragon in the Soul Cairn.
Durnavir, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't do their dragons' voices. What I did was almost like Imperfect Cell, just a little deeper. Because, he talks like this, so the voice was all the way down here. It dragged everywhere it went. And this was the voice I used for those 2 episodes. And, when I met them at the Gathering 3, I saw Tank first, which it was hard to miss. He's my size. He's 6'2", 6'3", but there was like a crowd of people surrounding him. So it's just like bald man with a beard standing in a crowd of people that were all like chest high to him. He's hard to miss. I walked up to him and I was like, yo, hey Tank, like that. He turns around, no hesitation. Popo brings me in for a hug. Man was sweaty as fuck. It was not that hot outside, but I forgot he's Canadian. He's a snowman. Anything above, 60 degrees, he's going to start melting. So he's very sweaty, but it was a very nice hug. And then right after that, maybe like 20 minutes later, I met No Panic Button. And very much the same thing. He's a hugger. But because of my episodes, which I guess I did more. I've played 3 games of D&D with Autumn Ivy. I was
Lucky.
2 episodes of Roll for Cake, and then one off where I played Popo, whose only obsession for the entirety of that run was to get covered in gore. I wanted to bathe in it.
Why?
I don't know. It was not something that was fleshed out until I saw that these things were exploding and then someone was covered in it. And I'm like, oh, lucky. And then I made it my life's mission to have him covered head to toe in gore by the end of the run. But Autumn played a character in there whose name I'm kind of fuzzy on. I think it was Barbenheimer or something like that. Bardenheimer, something like that. She was looking for Norse's character, Bartholomew, which was like a raccoon bard dude. Because she believed they had one night together. She believed that they were betrothed. So her character was a dragonborn paladin. Was looking for him. They incorporated her into the next episode of Roll for Cake, where my character came back, the dragon, to help them. And then at the end of the episode, she approaches Bartholomew, sees the undead dragon, immediately forgets about the raccoon, and starts hitting on the dragon. Because there was a whole joke about how his Johnson had been disconnected from him when he died. They reattached it by the end of the episode. No, it was great because the last words were, "Wait, you forgot to cast mend." Because they were all leaving. So, but because he's dead and he doesn't have proper function, it doesn't retract. So it's just sitting there flopping around the whole time. And then they decided to tie it up with rope, but they had to coil it up when they tied it. So it looks like a big old cinnamon roll. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. And, she leaves with the dragon. They fly off because she's like, so that looks like a cinnamon roll, and I'm really into frosting. To which I turned to the guy that gave me the rope. I was like, "Hey, buddy, you got any stronger rope?" And he's like, "Why is it starting to come?" He's like, "Do you got any different rope?" And he's like, "Why? Is there something wrong with it?" It's like, "Well, it's just that the way things are going, what's on here isn't going to hold. Like, we don't have much time. I'm counting the threads break." Like, and they fly off together to do God knows what. I don't want to think about it. And flash forward to the Gathering 3. When Autumn gets there, I walk up to her, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Popo." I'm like, "Hey," like that. We say our pleasantries. But then on video, and I have the video, it is on my page still, where I was meeting everybody. I hand her a cinnamon roll I got from the gas station saying, "This is from Derek." And her reaction was like, "Oh, fuck yes, I'm so hungry."
Oh my God.
But I've even said, like, I had a dice bag too, that has been fondled by No Panic Button, fondled by Autumn Ivy, booped by Tank Tolman's hammer. Because I asked him if he wanted to touch it too, and he just goes. But I didn't meet Taco until the Gathering 4.
And this year, Gathering 5, are you gonna go, or?
Unfortunately, no. It's not that I wasn't invited, because I was actually a member of the staff. Still,
Last year.
Even going on to this one, I was parts of early on planning and was still slated to be a member of security like I was the last couple times. But unfortunately, because of how things worked out, it is financially irresponsible for me to try to attend. I will say this. I have a Magic the Gathering card that was given to me by Taco. And he walked up on me, and I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, Taco reacts, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I was shanked by him with a Magic the Gathering card at in North Carolina." And they're looking at me like, "What?" Because Kami and I were standing outside of this food truck just bullshitting one night, and he goes, "Here comes Taco." And I look, and he comes walking up. He got a mean mug look on his face. He was like, come walking up on me real fast, reaches into his pocket, and I'm like, "Well, it's nice knowing you, buddy." And he just like sticks something against my chest with his hand. He's like, "Pick one. Come on, pick one. I dare you." And I'm like, "This one?" And he's like, "No, look at him. Look." I was like, "Okay." "Oh, cool. I could actually use this one, but this one is a gin." And just for pure aesthetic, I'm gonna have to go with this one. He takes the other. He's like, "All right, man, that's yours." And he turns around and goes, "I told you that's the one he was gonna take." And he just walks off. And I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?"
He had a bet somewhere.
But Taco's a really sweet guy.
I mean, that's what I've seen from his videos.
He really is, because cool as hell too. Because he walks up to me several times throughout the gathering. Whenever we were just near each other, he'd walk up and we'd just start shooting the shit for about 20-30 minutes at a time. He's one of the first people that saw me in my full Beetlejuice makeup, and he's like, "Yeah, no, that's not creepy at all."
Yeah.
And that ultimately led to that video that's on my page where he's like,
where somebody's watching me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one, and honestly, like, if they ever do like a play that your kids are involved in, and it's Beetlejuice, You're perfect for it.
Oh yeah, because it's one of my favorites too.
And
What do
that's
you
one thing
think
I
of
love.
Beetlejuice?
I have yet to watch it. My wife and I have been wanting to watch it together, but we get home, we get the boys to bed. She passes out in 30 minutes.
I know that one.
So it's like we have to. I'm waiting, and so there's something going on that I'm not going to get into with my mother-in-law. Nothing against us to her. They have some guests that are overstaying their welcome, and once they leave, I can send my kids over there.
And have a
Then
date
we will
night.
watch the movie. Yes, then we will
Yeah.
watch the movie, but not until then.
So
But I so want to watch it.
it's honestly really good. Has Shaggy shown you his gift for you yet?
There's a gift.
There's a gift. I'm supposed to go pick it up and bring it to you, but
Oh,
there is a gift. Shaggy,
You want
would
me
you
to
like
show
to
it?
show him? Yeah, go ahead,
You
show him.
yeah.
Oh,
Why
right here.
not? Why not? I'm easy.
So, I don't know if you remember this, but you were on a TikTok live interview with him last year, and I believe it was
Which
either
one?
it was October. I think it was during the 31 days, or was that the 31
Because
day interview.
that would be this. That would be our second interview.
Yeah,
Yes,
our second
the
interview.
second interview.
Yeah.
And I was actually in the comments, and I was the one that said, I'm actually personal friends with Chuck Huber, the voice of Android 13.
Oh,
And
that.
yeah, I was him. That was me. That was me who said that. And remember when I said I
I'd
can get you the
forgotten all
signature?
about that.
Remember when I said I can get you the
Yeah.
signature?
Oh, hang on.
Hold on. Bro, he's so excited right now. I'll even show you what it says. I had it customized for you. So it literally says Popo Blanco with your name on it. Popo Blanco has a $30 haircut.
Yeah, joke's on him. I cut my own hair.
But no, like so
That's
so
all
he didn't have one before. So I actually so I was on a journey, by the way. So I was in communication with Homebrew Himbo and
Yeah.
him, and they were helping me with the hats, and I wanted to get a custom hat. It was supposed to have your name on it with your thing. So when I went to the Comic-Con, I thought I was going to get it. I didn't get it till the day after the Comic-Con ended,
Yeah.
and it didn't have your name on it. They didn't put the name on it. I spent $40 on it, and all I had was the print, the red ribbon print, and that was it.
It was, yeah,
Oh,
it was supposed
So
to say
I-
Popo Blanco on the top of it. He
But here's
actually
the
showed
thing,
me
Homer-
design.
it's okay.
He said,
I have
"I'll
a
give it
tramp.
to you."
I have a tramp stamp that made up for that. It's got my Popo Blanco initials on it, but it's the red ribbon.
Yeah, and so I sent it to him. He said, "Don't send it." Homebrew was like, he'll take anything. You can give him like a freaking just like a little pin, and he'll like it. Oh, Scott Ennis. Oh, hold on,
That's the voice of Vegeta.
No, this is the voice of Shaggy
Shaggy.
Oh,
from Zombie Island.
No,
But
he's
this is I had 2 pictures taken this day. They only gave me one little thing to hold them in. Do you want to see what's on the other side?
sure.
Chuck Norris. So hey, so okay if I show Popo this?
Yeah.
Yeah, about the Scott Ennis. So you mentioned Scott Ennis, and I have the 1-in-1. He made this himself, by the way. This is his art,
Oh, dang, he's good.
and by the way, this cost me that much, 200,
Woo!
and it has this
That's
message
fine.
on there.
It was $150 to get my picture with Chuck.
So it has
I have a story about me and Chuck. I can
Oh,
officially say I can officially say I kicked Chuck Norris's butt.
Oh yeah, you told me that story.
yeah,
Yeah,
you told me about that too.
yeah, karate tournament and all that. It's just like, hey, don't take it easy on me. I'm going to come after you.
Hey, Terry,
Technically.
tell the viewers. Tell the viewers about that story.
Yeah, tell the viewers.
Okay, so way back when Chuck Norris was like really big into he's still big into karate and everything, but he used to have tournaments ranging from 12 to adult tournaments, and you fought in these tournaments, and it didn't matter the age, you fought, and the winner of the tournament got to do an expedition match with Chuck Norris himself. So there's 30 of us in this tournament. It's 15 on each side, and you fight down until you get to the last two. I got down to the last two. I won the tournament. And then me being the youngest, I was 13 years old at the time, still in karate. I'm trained in Shokan. Now I'm trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I train in Taekwondo. But at the time, I was doing Shokan karate, which was a form of his karate. And he came up we were doing the expedition match. And before the match, he said, "I'm going to take it easy on you just because you're 12 years old. We'll 13 years old, and we'll make it look like it's fun." And I straight out told Chuck Norris, "Don't come easy at me because I'm going to come full 100% at you. I'm not going to take it easy on you. Don't take it easy on me. To me, this is an actual match. This ain't no expedition. I'm coming to kick your butt." So he goes in for a kick. I kind of, me being short and a little bit of fast, as not as chunky as I am now, got underneath him and kicked him right in the butt. So I can officially say I kicked Chuck Norris in the butt. And then he came at me and basically ended up murdering my ass.
You
He
kick
made me.
my butt, I come for yours.
Yeah,
he kicked you so hard, your soul left your body, ricocheted off the wall, and came back.
it pretty much did, because he did that roundhouse kick and right into my chest, and I went, "Okay, I'm done."
See, the weird thing is that you grow up like me. You're always told, watch your strength, watch yourself, be careful. And like I'm talking about, like, 7 years old in my mom's pickup truck, and I go to open the door and I rip the handle off, kind of stuff.
Damn.
Yeah.
No wonder
Just
she
break
told you
it
to
clean
watch your
off the
strength.
door, and I'm like, not realizing that, being the kid that didn't want to do anything during gym class, they just had them walk laps. But, over the weekend, I'm one arming bales of hay into the back of the truck. But when I was in karate, that really helped with my control a lot. But even still, there was one day that there was a sparring class going on. And at this point in time, I'm a red belt. I can get away with a little more. Instead of having the helmet, chest pad, mouth guard, cup, hands, and feet on, I can get away with just hands and feet. Like, they let you get away with that. So I was there, sparring with everyone else in class. And my little sister was in the class with me because, sparring is just like, you just spar.
Yeah.
There's no like belts. There's no it's like a white belt can spar with a black belt. It's mutually beneficial to both.
Yeah, because you kind of learn as a black belt, you learn to control, but also in a white belt, you can learn from the experience of fighting a black belt.
Yeah. And I hear my sister start crying. And what's happening is the kid she's sparring against, because as soon as she starts to cry, I put my hand out. Dude stops and he looks. And dude's sitting there as she's like trying to get up. He's pushing her down.
Oh, no.
No, just pushing her down. And then I look at our instructor. He looks at that, looks at me, and I'm like, not at him. He just goes, all right. Turns around. I walk over there. I grab him. Come on, we're fighting now. And I'm like 16 at this point.
Yeah.
I've been working out with adults since I was 13 because I was so much bigger than everyone else. So this kid, he's about 14 years old. He's still in the kids class technically. So I'm like, okay, come on, it's you and me. And I'm sitting there, got her hands up. I said, okay, whatever you throw at me, I'm going to throw right back. And he's like, what does that mean? Try me. He throws a jab. Okay. I catch him back with a jab. And then he starts getting more into it. So do I. And then at one point, he throws the hardest kick he can manage towards my head. So I throw it up and I block. Then I go to chamber my leg. He throws his hand up and then I just go
right into his side.
The only sound you could hear for the next couple minutes was, ooh, ooh,
that was me. That was me after Chuck Norris kicked me in the chest. I was like, shit, fuck.
And the funny thing was is that they never came back. But after the class, the mother was like, I can't believe you let him do that. I was like, I can't believe you let your son push little girls.
Yeah. Honestly, it was doing karate or martial arts in general. Learning all these different styles of martial arts has focused my mentality. It helps with my mental health. It helps with my strength and conditioning, and it helps with cardio and all that stuff. I wish I could do more of it on a regular basis. I get to do my jiu-jitsu classes because one of my good friends, he's a black belt jiu-jitsu instructor in the little town that's near me. And whenever I have a Monday off, because he teaches noon classes, whenever I have a Monday off that I can go and do jiu-jitsu with him,
Yeah.
I am like basically a white belt in jiu-jitsu. And all of his classes, pretty much everybody in his class is either a blue belt, purple belt, or a black belt. They use me as the training dummy, but I'm starting to learn.
Yeah.
And I got one guy. It was one of the purple belts. He went in they're like, hey, take him down. And he started to go for my leg, and I just sat on his head.
I said that was always my favorite thing too, because in karate that I took, it was called American karate. Yeah. Now the man who founded it, his name was Pat Burleson. He was a boxer in the Marines. He picked up karate when he was stationed over near Japan, and then just wherever he was stationed, he would learn what he could from the local martial arts and all that. And it was a bit like Americanized Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
A little bit. It was a little mix of everything. Except for grappling. We didn't do a whole lot of grappling. There was some judo in there for throws and stuff, but there was nothing on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, we had somebody who had taken Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and had come to our, dojo, and he always wanted to go for them takedowns. And he kept telling them, he's like, we don't do that here. We don't train for that here.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, well, as far as I'm concerned, it just makes it easier for me. And then he went up against one dude who even I would have told you, don't do that. Don't do that to him. His favorite move is the uppercut. Don't do that to him.
Oh, Lord.
And sure enough, dude sits there because, there was a lot of Western boxing involved. They didn't care what stance you took. Mine was a bit more off to the side, a bit like that, open hand.
Yeah.
A bit like, more relaxed. This dude straight up, he come at you with the boxer stance.
Dang.
And dude, he's like, dude went to go to the takedown. He just goes, fat.
That's a knockout move.
Yeah, because as soon as he went, and it's not like he was close and he just ducked down. He's about a good 3-4 feet away, and he just started to go down. Dude just stepped back and went.
So, all right. So we're getting closer to the time. A couple more questions to go. So Popo, Um, what do you think the future holds for Popo right now? With
Oh,
the Twitch streaming and everything. What
uh,
do you see the end goal and be with your Twitch stream, your TikTok, and everything else in life right now? What's the end goal?
to do it for a living, to become an online personality that can, you know, support his family and be there for them at all times so that I may never have to fear being away when something happens.
I honestly love that. That is actually a selfless goal, pretty much, because that way you can provide for your family and still be there for your family. Yeah, it's the same way with me and Shaggy here. Our ultimate goal is to provide happiness and provide an outlet for the nerds who like growing up like me and being the shunned of the group because we were nerds. Now look at us being the center of attention because nerds are the thing now. Wish I would have
Yeah.
known that in the future. But for some odd reason, we're here now. Shaggy, do you have one more question for Mr. Popo?
Yeah, so this kind of goes into truck driving because I worked with truck drivers when I used to be a trash loader for
Hmm.
CDL Class B. And I wanted to ask, and this actually goes for all three of us because I know both of you do trash work. Where was that one like for other truck drivers or other people who are watching this who want to be truck drivers? What was that one experience that you learned during truck driving that has to do with like safety or like that one thing that failed on the truck that like people need to be able to check so they know that doesn't happen or doesn't happen to them?
Hmm. For me, that would be your steps to the cab. Because it wasn't too long ago that I was climbing out of my truck and one of the steps gave way. I fell and was out of commission for about 6 to 7 weeks.
Uh, for me, honestly, uh, proper tire maintenance. Um, it was about 7 years ago now. I was driving outside of Fort Stockton, Texas, near El Paso, and a steer tire went out on me, and never had that happen before. My first initial instinct was hit the freaking brake, not knowing you're not supposed to do that.
Supposed to hit the gas.
Yeah, and I hit the brake, and my truck went. Now I know. Anytime if I have a steer tire go out, and I feel that steering wheel shake, uh, hit the gas and slowly let it go.
Yeah, my experience. So like, I don't have my CDO. I actually plan on getting mine, but my experience was we were out in the backwoods of Porter, or outside of Porter, and we were just finishing our route, and the brakes failed. So,
Ooh,
and we were
Mm.
like, it was one of those like back highway roads that you can go like 60. We were going pretty fast. It did not slow down. Like we were hitting a T intersection, and it was either hit the dirt or hit the mobile home that was in the pasture. And there was a pedestrian walking by, and we ended up slowing down because uh, the brakes just would not respond. It was air brakes. And one thing I tell people is do not freak out. Do not because that will make things like, especially if you're helping your driver, do not freak out because that will hinder the driver from focusing on trying to get that truck back to safety. You know what I mean? And we
yeah.
ended up hitting that ditch, and we ended up slowing down, pulling out of it. We pulled to the gas station. We were already done with our route. So I'm glad we got home safe. We ended up, but actually a week later, one of our trucks for the same thing actually tipped over, and it was a Freightliner. So
Ooh, yeah. So on that note, guys, always be safe out on the roads. Two highly experienced truck drivers here, always telling you be safe on the roads. And once again, this episode is brought to you by the Future JB Foundation, where we are going to be one day the go-to financial assistance for NICU patients and families who are dealing with grief and sorrow. Will be the future here. As we always end our podcast together, I wish you nothing but
peace, love,
love.
and happiness. And you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Popo. Wonderful.